Communication is a vital part of our society. It is present in all forms of media.
Hello and welcome to CEO Australia. I'm Roger Maynard.
Roger Maynard has spent nearly 4 decades working as a journalist and a foreign correspondent. Maynard is the author of Maynard, the best-selling book about the serial killer responsible for the horrific backpacker murders. At present, he's a lecturer at Macleay College.
Well, I think communication is establishing, being on the same wavelength, the same mental wavelength as the other party, really. And if you can try to establish that sort of mental level of communication with another party, then you have established communication. Certainly it's important to be able to talk to people. It's certainly important to be able to ask questions. I don't think people ask enough questions these days. I automatically ask questions all the time. It's a knowledge and a curiosity to know what's going on in other people's lives that I think is the essential ingredient there. Well, they always say that television is the most effective form of communication because it has the power to influence lots of people and people's opinions more so than perhaps newspapers do or even radio. So I think probably although television is the most powerful in terms of its communication possibilities, that doesn't mean to say I like television the most. I mean, I quite like radio. Radio is a much more informal medium and allows you to do much more than television for a fraction of the cost, and you can still make some kind of impact. And the greatest joy about radio, of course, is that you can create pictures in people's minds, and once you've done that, you've achieved a good end result. Books are a different ball game altogether. They require a lot of persistence, they require a lot of long-term energy, the ability to keep at it all the time, a long-term perseverance. But I have to say, all told, books have given me the greatest satisfaction and pleasure of all the mediums I've worked for, and there's nothing like going into a bookshop and seeing a book on the shelf. That is the greatest satisfaction, far more than seeing yourself on the telly. My years at the BBC taught me you've got to be impartial, and from years and years and years, it was drilled into me that you've always got to give both sides of the story, and that's how I am. I feel that today you've always got to give both sides of the story to give a balanced and impartial account of what's going on. Well, they always say that truth is stranger than fiction, and I think that's really true. You've got. I'm amazed at the amount of things that happen in real life that you couldn't dream of in fictional terms. And people's lives and their personality, the minutiae of life that they go through, often that can be far more interesting than some dramatic episode made up in a fictional story. And I've spent my life talking to people about what happens to them. I'm a simple soul, basically, who's just after truth and facts and have an interest in other people's lives. I did actually sit quite near him in court for many, many months, and so I feel I got to know him quite well, even though we never actually spoke. And like all serial killers, it's hard to pick them. You just don't know. And certainly Ivan Milat came over to me as a sort of the guy who could be everybody's favourite uncle. In fact, we know quite well that he played with his relations' children, played car games with them, and toy aeroplanes and this sort of thing. So he had that other side to his character, but of course he had that monstrous side to his character as well, which he kept well and truly hidden. Well, I took the conventional route as it was when I was a young man. I went straight into a local newspaper in England and did the 3-year cadetship, or apprenticeship as we would call it then. And I did my 3 years in a local paper. And then after that I went to work for a news agency, a provincial news agency in the UK, and after that I joined the BBC and worked as a local radio reporter for some years. And then I gradually made my way up the ladder and worked for lots of other people along the way. Well, I actually quite enjoy it. I mean, I enjoy talking to people about my work and to talk to people about how to go about their work by using my own personal experience to illustrate the points. You know, if you can teach people how to do it, that's probably the greatest satisfaction of all.